Hey guys, it's Morgan coming back to you with, this is going to be the second video in the XR650R series of tearing down and rebuilding the top end. No, that pipe is not an XR pipe. But anyway, in today's video we are going to be disassembling the head and taking a good look at everything in there, getting it super duper cleaned up and ready to go back together. Also, I will go through with you the list of parts that I'm getting to rebuild this thing. So let's get this head apart and take a good look. Alright, so we're going to take the valves out. The nice thing about XR heads is they're very, very simple. There's not much to them, just some valves, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead and take those out. Alright, so guys, if you're going to do work like this, one thing you absolutely have to have is a valve spring compressor. There's really no other good way to get valves out of a head that I know of without, like, you can go with the whole crazy like socket hitting it. Anyway, it doesn't work that good. So what the valve spring compressor does is it pushes up on the valve from underneath here and then compresses the spring, and then we're going to come in, get the keepers out. So see, they're not coming out yet. That's okay. Tighten this down just a little more. There we go. Now these little collet keeper, whatever, anyway, these are the thing I dread most losing when things come apart. So I want to be really, really careful about these and make sure you don't lose them. You can order them obviously from Honda, but you don't want to have to. So we'll just put those down there for now. We got our springs and valves. Now let's see if I can show you guys. There we go. So you can see the face of that valve right there where I'm touching. See how cupped that is? That is all the way worn out. That thing is no good. So that happening and causing the valve to be open just a little bit while it's still running was heating things up because there's exhaust sneaking by it. Still running because it's an XR and they just keep running forever. But what that does, that heat then ruins the seals and then causes them to leak, and that's what was making my whole head, or making my bike burn oil, was it was oil getting past that. You can see the caked up oil on that valve. So focus, there we go, there we go. So sweet, well at least we found the source of the oil leak. Now I'm going to finish taking this thing apart, get everything apart, get everything organized into its own little homes. I'll show you how I do that once I get there. So I'm gonna get this thing apart, we'll check back in. Alright guys, so I got the top end stuff all cleaned up. You can see the head it's actually not too bad, but a lot of caked on oil, old, burnt, anyway, whatever. So we're gonna get that. I cleaned it up with the ultrasonic. Same thing with the cylinder, got that done. And now we're gonna give them over to our buddy Michael Schwartz here, who has a vapor blaster. And I'm going to give them to him. He's going to go vapor blast these things, and before the end of this video I'm going to have him back and I will show you what they look like. So take a good look, everybody, at what they look like now. There we go, that's the bad part. This is actually not bad, but so there we go, there's that. I'm going to give them over to Mike. By the way, if you're in the area, he has a vapor blaster. Honer, what do you call them? Vapor? I call them vapor blasters.
Yeah, vapor blasting.
Yeah, whatever. It's vapor things. Anyway, so he's got that. If you guys are interested, I'll put a link to his email in the description, and you can get a hold of him, and he can do your vapor blasting for you. So yeah, he's going to take care of that stuff, and we'll, like I said, before the end of the video, I'll check in and show you what that looks like. Alright guys, so while we're waiting for Mike to get done vapor blasting the head and cylinder, let me just show you how we organize things and what parts we're replacing. So really, I'll come over here. Let's go over here first. So this is all the stuff I've got off the valve cover, all the bolts for the valve cover are in there. I got the cam and the bolts for the head. Anyway, this is not completely done getting organized. It is in my little zone over here of storing of parts. My kids' 125 stuff's over there. That's over here, and those are just extra boxes. But so that's that. I've decided not to replace the cam. The cam actually looks really good. I checked it out and measured it. Everything matches. It's all good. So I'm not going to replace that. I'll eventually put that into a tub and get it out of the way. But the only really things that I like to keep super organized are exhaust valve springs and intake valve springs. Also the base washers, keepers, and all that. For intake and exhaust, it doesn't really matter which side the exhaust and intake go on, but I like to keep those exhaust and intake. And then here are the valves that I'm replacing. I already showed you guys that. See how worn out that is? That's hammered. So that's definitely gonna go. The exhaust valves are not as worn out, but they're all carbony. Anyway, they're terrible. So those are gone. Piston, here we go. I cleaned it up really well. Obviously had a bunch of carbon on it. Honestly, this piston is in really, really good shape. I could probably reuse it, but when we flip it over, you can see right there, it got super hot right in there. So it is not as strong as it could be anymore. I'm not sure exactly why it got so hot. Probably had to do with the leaky valves. When valves leak, especially intakes, you generate some more heat. Anyway, so that's gone. Gonna get rid of that guy. The only other part that I'm replacing, well, excuse me, two other parts. Cam chain, because I mean it actually looks really good. There's no kinks in it or anything like that, but it did seem like on the loose side. Before I undid the tensioner, it didn't seem like it had a lot of tension on it. And then I'm also replacing the cam chain tensioner, because those two things, the chain and tensioner, if they were to give up after all this, it would be a catastrophic failure on this motor, and that would be no good. Now we are waiting for Mike to get done with those, that head and cylinder. I'll show you what those look like, and then we're going to get the parts coming. So Red here on YouTube has offered to send me he's got a brand new piston rings, pin, and clips, plus some other seals and things like that, in trade for a Highland Cycles mug, which is awesome. Thank you, Red. Thank you very much. And then I just haven't heard anything about ancillary stuff like wheels and stuff like that. If anyone knows anyone at Warp 9, reach out to them. Tell them to watch these videos and see if they want to help out. That would be super cool if they did. If not, no worries. But yeah, we're waiting on Mike to get done. I'll show you what those look like at the end of this video. Then that will conclude the video. The next video will be us reassembling this thing and putting it back together. So yeah, let's wait for Mike. All right, guys, Michael got our stuff back, and I want to show you how amazing it looks. Boom, look at that. Head looks brand spanking new. Same with the cylinder. Yeah, it looks great. The crosshatch looks great. See, there you go. You guys can see it there. Yeah, I am really, really happy with the way that turned out. I've got parts on the way. So now it's a waiting game. So that's going to be the end of this video. We are now waiting for parts. The next video in this XR650R series is going to be me putting the top end back together. Again, reaching out to anyone who wants to help sponsor other parts on the bike, like wheels, a swing arm, anything like that. If you want to join our Patreon page and help us there, that would be awesome. Again, if not, no big deal. The bike's going to get rebuilt anyway. It's just going to be either slower or not quite as fancy. But I'd like to think that I could help a company out if they wanted to sponsor some stuff with some exposure and things like that. But anyway, I love you guys. We'll see you on the next one.